Okay, so over here, got vanilla. Set my timer. Let's go.
Vanilla glandifolius and vanilla cariatensis are the two species, or that one is actually a hybrid, that are used mostly in vanilla production, but it only covers 1% of the actual vanilla that is required. So they have done a study at the University of Hawaii, I believe it was. No, in Rio de Janeiro, the University of Rio de Janeiro, and they're trying to find other species that will fill in so that you can bring up the production. There's a big problem with the planifolia at the moment where they get a Fusarium growth that kills them. It's just like the vandals, you know, they all seem to have problems with that. And so this one, the Camisonis, is one of the two species that they found that would be a good substitute for planifolia. So that is what you're getting. Now, this one, Camisonis, this is what the flowers look like, and they're green with a white lip. The planifolia is sort of a greenish yellow with a yellow lip. So this is sort of the easier way to kind of tell them apart. On this side is Camisonis with the white lip, and on this side is this one too. This one is Latifolia with the yellow lip. I flowered this plant once when I put it in a brighter spot, and it has to be kept warm, wet, and bright. If you don't get it bright, then it won't flower. Okay? And then you have to self-pollinate it to try to get a pot on it, but don't do it unless the plant is a big, strong plant. Otherwise, you're going to take so much strength out of it, it might die. Now, you pot it because it is a wet plant. What I always do is I take up, on the bottom of the pot, I put coarse bark as a drainage material. And that's sort of nice for the environment because you don't have, when you throw it out, it doesn't contaminate the environment. So I put about a small amount, about a third of it in there. And then you have to make up a mix of medium bark, some sphagnum moss, and rip this up into little pieces so it will mix well. And then open the it's all right. It's rusty. Charcoal. It keeps it sweet because it's a wet plant, and so keeping it sweet is important. And also put a couple of in there. No, this is activated charcoal. Charcoal, yeah. And you get it in and mix it all up. And then I'll plant a couple of cuttings in it. Now we have to try to figure out which is up and which is down in these. Okay, so let's see. The back goes up, so this is the down part. Where did I put that button on? Oh yeah, here it is.
I have a question.
Yep.
So you see some part of that root is dried. Should you remove it because it might rot in the soil? Or?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
This is useless this week.
Okay, because that's the problem I had with
yeah.
mine. So.
It died during the was it 2 weeks or something that Terry was looking after it because we were going to use it the last time and didn't get to it. So for months now they've been sitting around. But it also meant that the cut ends have had time to callus over so they have less problems of some rot getting into it. So this way, so you have to take the label off, otherwise it will just...
So how long can you leave it without it completely drying out?
Well, I guess a month. I mean, she's been spraying it. You know?
Okay.
You can tell, you know, when it's a lot limper than it was when I first
so I think I need
gave
to
it to
teach
her.
mine.
Yeah.
Excuse me, that charcoal, can you buy it at a store? Or?
I always get the orchid suppliers to bring it in for me.
but it's activated charcoal,
Yeah.
which is meant for horticultural purposes.
Can you buy it?
And so I'm just going to fill it in.
It's not the charcoal you use for your barbecue.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at,
No.
because I don't do barbecues. You can, yeah, see what I'm getting at is.
And you're going to have to repot once a year because you have to
A
keep it
nursery
very wet.
meant for
If you
horticultural
don't keep
use.
it very wet, the leaves will fall off. You know, all the leaves are gone.
Sure,
There
you
were a
can
few
buy it.
leaves, but they're gone within a month.
When it sort of gets established, the leaves will come out of the same nose?
Then you'll have stuff coming out of the nose.
Okay. It's
As
so
long as
vine.
as tall as you want to let it get. So this is why what I do is I take, what have I got then? Wires. I have a wire. And put that in there. And then you can tie it to it, and then actually, in fact, when it gets a bigger pot, you put it into a larger, long, stronger wire, and you tie it to that and make it curl around so it doesn't go take over your. Because the Candice wants to have a planifolia, which is very similar in growth habit to this, and it's going all out their greenhouse. And so she was going to bring it, but then she said no, it's just too difficult to get it out. So that's what I have to do. So I have some string that I brought that I can tie it with.
You say repot once a year. When do we know like the repot?
When you see it making new roots, at the moment it's not doing a thing, right? So this is not a good time for it. I wouldn't have been potted it otherwise. But I had to, actually what happened is my plant fell over, it got so top heavy, I could not keep it upright, and finally fell over and broke the pot, and there it was all out of medium and everything. And so I decided, okay, I've got to make it smaller, make cuttings on it, and then I had all these cuttings.
Now, so since it is a very wet grower, you don't
Yes.
advise to use those so-called moss poles because you're going to be changing them every year.
What
You know the
poles?
moss poles.
moss?
So it's a pole that you make with mesh stuff with bark
I
and
suppose
moss
you could
and-
do it, I just haven't tried it, but I don't see why it wouldn't work.
Well, it may work, but if you have to change it every year, it's expensive.
Yes, yes, so, yeah, this might be cheaper.
That's what I'm thinking.
So when it gets a little bigger, you see this is the kind of pot that you use.
Yeah. Okay.
I brought the bigger pots in case some people that there were, say, so few people who wanted to have a vanilla that I can put 4 cuttings in it.
I just sort of missed the beginning. What is your medium for the vanilla?
I have a coarse bark on the bottom,
Coarse bark?
1/3,
Yes.
and then I make a mix of fine to medium bark,
Yes.
fine charcoal, and sphagnum moss, and a bunch of sphagnum moss. Yeah, approximately.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And that gives the moisture. It helps the moisture because it's a wet growing plant.
It is a wet roll, right?
Yeah. As the lady who gave me the plant, she said it is thirsty.
If it's wet growing, can you just like submerge the roots in water, like suspend it over an aquarium, for example?
Yeah, you could just leave the. I mean, I have my plants always with on a tray with water. Anything that can't survive, that doesn't survive with me.
So I guess with having it in semi-hydro in Leica, would that work?
Which?
Would Leica, like the clay pebbles?
Several hydroponic.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. Okay. You could use that on the bottom, for instance, and you could maybe put something else higher up. I mean, this is just the way I do it. It doesn't mean that you have to do it that way. You can do it differently. As long as you remember that they're warm growing, they need lots of light, and they're wet. So I have I would put it in you see this little pot, I would put into this, and then have it with the water right up to here.
Okay.
Okay?
Right up to the level where the bark ends.
Okay.
Because that way, you have the top part has a possibility of getting the water, but it's not sitting in the water, and so you don't have to water. If it were Cinia who waters constantly, she would probably put lots of holes in there too as well. Okay? But I do not water. I water once every 10 days. And so, and that's why I keep the water under here. It will, in my water, I have a heated underfloor heating. It sits on that, and so this evaporates fairly quickly. And then I have to make sure that I remember to water it again.
How about water quality? Are they finicky with the water quality?
I don't know, but we use rainwater. And I use slow release fertilizer. And every now and again MSU.
Tell me, vanilla plants is found in which type of environment, like in their natural habitat?
They're in jungle forests, and they climb up the tree, and the root, the bottom part will die off, and it will just keep on going and
So
go
it's
there.
attached to the tree itself.
Yes, the roots will attach to the tree itself. And we can't do that, so that's why we have to do something else. Well, mine was about 2 meters tall.
I think I read somewhere that it has to be like 10 feet minimum.
Some of them, yeah. This one, as I said, it flowered once, and I had it in a bright spot.
And how long did you have it for?
Oh my. About 5-10 years, something like that, I'm not sure.
And right is what?
I have it in a, on a north-facing veranda that is closed in. And it has underfloor heating in it. And before I placed all kinds of other plants around it, it got lots of light. And particularly in the summer, when the sun was able to come in through the top.
So northern exposure is bright enough.
It is in the summer at least, if it's unimpeded. But now, it's got a table in front of it and other plants on top of it, so it just doesn't get enough. Orchid, yeah. Actually, at home I use Orchid now for anything that is growing wet because it lasts longer. And the ordinary bark decays in about a year, whereas the Orchid takes 2 years. So it flowers if you give it enough light. And I flowered it once. I promise. I'm not lying. I did. And we had greenish yellow flowers, which are true flowers with a white lip. How long did it last? Not very long, 2 days, like overnight. No, it's 2 days. Actually, that particular species lasts 2 days. So, now, whoever wants a plant, please, you take a pot, and I'll start mixing some of the medium in here.
Doesn't matter what time.
No.
You want to hear about it? Just trying to figure out what pot some of the shortest at home so I can
Use this cup here to put about a third.
water like once.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna pour like a pound.
Like just in your apartment.
Yeah, suspended water.
I just grabbed what I had.
Sometimes I forget even how to find it online.
But the
I
pots
plan
are
to
all
forget.
sterilized in barracks.
Are the flowers fragrant or is it just the seed
Is
pods that's fragrant?
there too big of
I don't
a
have
size
anything.
for
No flowers.
like just one planting?
You can put a couple in. You see, you're going to have to repot it again anyway.
So it doesn't matter.
Not to start with. And it might be a good idea to put a plastic
Outside?
put a plastic bag around the plant
Oh,
so that it
humidity.
just keeps the humidity.
I see. Okay. All right.
Okay, cut this up into 2 cuttings. Yep.
Yep, I have pumpkin. I'm still trying to root mine.
Maybe grab a bunch there and then.
Okay. Can this be cut again?
So we hope that is about a package.
And look at the scales to see which way they're going, and that will tell you what you're looking for.
Okay, so we gotta go
Up.
up.
Where's that?
So this is up.
My arms are that long. I have to walk.
Just take try out.
Okay, yeah, you're looking at them going, which one's that, right?
This one has a lighting. Most of them have a lighting.
So they all have to have a leaf right before it's grown? They all have to have one leaf at least.
No, no. Because they're,
This is up, right? This one's good. Is this a good root?
that's all right, leave it there, but you can hold it in the corner. But the ones on top, I just get rid of them because it's just tangle things up.
I'm trying to figure out which one. Yes, that would be, this would be up, right?
So everybody got that?
No, so I don't have mine
I
yet.
might have to make one medium.
What do you want, cooking? I want a cooking.
Help yourself to the medium.
Okay, and the cup?
Or a pot? The pot's just quick getting a pot, so that'll be terrific.
All right, okay, so what do we do? Is this ready?
This is ready.
Which way is up?
So you want to have the coarse part on the bottom. Then you run out them.
So do you take the color?
Yeah, you will. Yes. You have to self-fertilize.
Yes.
And then you have to push the Alina into the stigma. And then put the plant in. When it's right. Which way is up? This way?
Which way is up?
Not completely right.
I think the bottom part is
And you have to,
Okay, but that's like,
you have to read up how you do it. It has to be cured.
yeah, I don't know, mine's like
so maybe you go direct.
So you've never done that?
No,
Excuse
no,
me,
I
Inge,
haven't done that part yet.
which one is up?
That will be the here. There.
So the tag at the bottom means that the bottom.
No, I just put it in where it had a bounce in.
Okay, so can you tell me which way?
Excuse me.
Three of the four?
Which way is up?
Do you want the wire? Yes. I'm gonna take the wire.
Okay, everybody got some medium quick?
I need some more of that.
So this way is up.
So I take this out.
To me, it doesn't really matter if it's nice.
Wonderful.
Should I take this out or no?
The bottom one maybe, but not the rest.
I need some more. There's still a hole in there.
It's pretty long, so I have a lot of room.
There's still a hole down there.
No, it's fine enough.
We have to get pots before we can fix it.
Sorry if I took your
Maybe take a picture of it because
Take a picture. This one is seems
it's
to
not
be
going
dry
to
and
it's not going to last if you put it in your pocket and it get destroyed. Yeah. So.
see if we can. You know that it's vanilla, but would you need the camisolis?
Yeah.
The thread that you have to
Yeah.
where you want?
Wire.
You want a wire?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you need mine to tie it up?
And make sure they close it in plastic when you get home. I forgot to bring some, I never thought of it. Besides, I probably wouldn't have had it with so many people.
I usually put specs on the block.
Yes.
That's always
This long, is that a reach?
Yes, it is. So
Stick it into the pot? And so you, as you release up, you want it putting them back into the pot. Okay.
Mine of it's pretty.
Yeah, I know. I can have. I can take it.